The moment everyone swore would never happen, happened. And Heartland will never be the same again. Some returns don't knock on the door. They shake the walls. They reopen wounds people worked years to survive. And Heartland Season 20. Episode 1 opens with exactly that kind of emotional earthquake. This episode doesn't rush. It doesn't scream. It waits. There's a heaviness from the very first frame. Like the ranch itself knows something is coming and doesn't know whether to brace for healing or heartbreak. Amy moves through her routine the way she always does. Calm on the surface, but there's something different in her eyes. A silence that feels louder than words. This isn't the Amy we last saw. This is a woman who has learned how to live with loss, not overcome it. And that matters because Heartland understands something most shows forget. Before you bring the past back, you remind us why it hurt to lose it. The pacing feels almost cautious, like the show is afraid to breathe too fast. Conversations stretch, pauses linger. Even the land feels tense, as if it's holding secrets in the wind. And that's no accident. Because Ty's return isn't designed to shock you, it's designed to undo you. Slowly, quietly, emotion by emotion. Heartland doesn't announce Ty's presence with dramatic music or sudden reveals. Instead, it plants emotional clues. Amy comes across something small but devastating, a reminder of a life she once shared, a version of herself she buried just to keep going. She doesn't push it away. She lets it sit, hurt and all. Lyndy starts asking questions, innocent questions, dangerous questions, about her father, about why his name feels heavy in a house filled with love. And suddenly, the past isn't past anymore. It's standing right there in the room. Jack watches the driveway more than usual. Lou hesitates before shutting down old conversations. Even Tim's sarcasm feels sharper, like it's working overtime to cover something fragile underneath. The ranch feels restless, not broken, waiting for something that once defined it to either save it or tear it open all over again. And when Ty finally appears, Heartland doesn't give us comfort. It gives us reality. There's no rush into arms, no instant forgiveness, just silence. Amy freezes. Her breath catches. Her eyes fill with emotions she thought time had already taken care of. This isn't a reunion. This is a collision between who she was and who she became after surviving the impossible. You can see it all at once. The anger for the years she lost, the fear of reopening a heart she stitched back together herself, and the love she never truly erased, only locked away. Amy doesn't fall apart. That's the most heartbreaking part. She stands strong because strength is what grief forced her to learn. And Ty standing there doesn't erase her journey. It challenges it. But the most dangerous moment doesn't belong to Amy. It belongs to Lyndy. Lyndy looks at Ty not with resentment, not with blame, but with curiosity, with wonder, with the kind of quiet recognition that doesn't need explanations. She's heard his name her whole life. She's grown up with a father-shaped absence. And now he's real, standing there, human, flawed, present. That moment isn't loud, but it's devastating. Because once a child sees the person behind the stories, nothing stays the same again. Ty's return doesn't just reopen Amy's heart, it rewrites Lindy's entire understanding of her world. And that's when the question stops being, can Amy forgive him? And becomes something far more terrifying. Can a family survive the truth once the past finally walks back through the door? Ty standing in that room doesn't just change Amy and Lyndy, it sends a quiet shockwave through every person who ever loved them. And Heartland is brutally honest about that. No one reacts the same way because everyone has been carrying Ty's absence differently. And some of them buried it deeper than others. Georgie sees him first with understanding, not blind forgiveness, not bitterness, understanding. She remembers the man Ty was when she needed stability, guidance, belief. And instead of demanding answers, she offers something rare in moments like this: emotional maturity. Georgie knows life doesn't follow clean lines. She speaks to Ty without anger, without fear, acknowledging the past without letting it chain the present. In that moment, She becomes proof that growth doesn't come from holding on to pain, it comes from choosing what to do with it. Tim, on the other hand, reacts exactly how you'd expect: defensive, sarcastic, emotionally armored. He throws out blunt remarks like shields, pretending Ty's return doesn't hit close to home. But it does. Tim respected Ty more than he ever admitted. He saw him as someone who earned his place at Heartland, someone who loved Amy the right way. And now that man is back, stirring up emotions Tim thought he locked away for good. There's relief, there's anger, and beneath it all, there's something dangerously close to pride. When Tim finally acknowledges Ty, it isn't emotional or dramatic. It's short, controlled, honest, and somehow that makes it hurt more. Jack doesn't rush in with judgment or questions. He watches, quietly, carefully. His silence carries decades of memory, of a young man searching for redemption, of a husband who loved fiercely, of a father who never wanted to be gone. Jack understands something everyone else is still learning. This moment isn't about explanations yet. It's about presence. When he finally speaks, his words are simple but heavy with meaning: responsibility, honesty, courage. Jack doesn't erase the years Ty was gone, but he reminds him of what Heartland stands for: facing the people you love, even when it's uncomfortable. Lou's reaction is the most layered of all. She's relieved Ty is alive. Truly. But relief quickly turns into protection. She watched Amy rebuild herself piece by piece. She helped raise Lyndy. She carried the family through years when holding it together felt impossible. So her instinct isn't celebration, it's caution. She asks the questions no one else wants to voice. Why now? Why after all this time? Her tone isn't cruel, but it's firm, shaped by responsibility. Yet the cracks begin to show when she watches Ty with Lyndy. The sincerity, the regret, the silence. Lou believes in second chances, but only when they come with accountability. Slowly, her resistance softens into something fragile and unfamiliar: cautious hope. Then comes the conversation that truly defines the episode. Amy and Ty, alone. No audience, no distractions, just the weight of everything left unsaid. Ty doesn't defend himself. He doesn't rush for forgiveness. He admits the truth: that leaving broke him, that every day away from Amy and Lyndy felt like a punishment he never escaped. Amy listens, calm but shattered. When she speaks, her words are steady, but they cut deep. She talks about surviving without him, about becoming strong because she had no other option, about loving him in a way that never disappeared. It just changed. It grew quieter, heavier, buried beneath grief and responsibility. And that terrifies her, because opening her heart again means risking everything she fought to rebuild. Ty doesn't ask for promises. He asks for honesty, a chance. Not based on who they were, but who they are now. Amy doesn't give him an answer. She gives him something far more honest. Their story isn't finished, but it can't be rushed. They part without certainty, but not without hope. The family dinner says everything words can't: the tension, the pauses, the careful glances, and then slowly, something shifts. Lyndy talks. Jack shares a story. Tim cracks a dry joke. Laughter returns, hesitant, fragile, real. For the first time since his return, Ty doesn't feel like an outsider. He feels like he's home. But Heartland doesn't pretend this fixes everything, because healing doesn't erase damage, and love doesn't guarantee safety. Ty's return could bring this family closer than ever, or quietly tear apart everything Amy worked so hard to protect. So the real question isn't whether Ty belongs at Heartland anymore. It's whether Amy can risk losing herself again just to find out.